Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Final Fantasy X. After a short bit of grinding, I managed to capture one of every single fiend in the Comlands. And basically when you go back to the monster arena, you basically get a spiel that you get whenever you complete an area conquest. And so with this, the arena is now open. We now have a special chest here at the monster arena that we can open shortly. But once you collect one of every monster, you get a chance to battle for free what's known as a area conquest creation. These creations are manageable at this level. And basically going forward, we're now able to backtrack with our capture weapons and capture fiends from every area in Spira in the game. Now, as it happens, because of where we are at this point in the story, we aren't able to go further back than the Thunder Plains. If we try and go further back into Thunder Plains, because we attacked Maester Seymour, you know, when we get to Guadasalam, they basically run us out and we're forced back to the Thunder Plains. So we're actually locked out of the rest of the game until we get to the post game. That was one of the main reasons why, once we unlocked the Jack Spheres, we backtracked all the way back to the Fade right then and there. And what's funny is that I'm looking back at those old episodes and I didn't even know about the no encounters button. So even though it was at 3 times speed or 4 times speed to run back, I literally was getting into all sorts of random encounters that I was just fleeing from. So yeah, super frustrating that I didn't realize I could just turn off encounters. But the Chimera Geist, the enemy that we're fighting here, is basically a Chimera with all of the abilities of a standardized Chimera, except way more HP and way more interesting steals, as well as item drops from winning the fight. And because he's just a standard Chimera, the majority of his dangerous abilities are actually just magic attacks. So the null spells can actually be a massive help in this fight. So in hindsight, if I was to start this over again, I was a bit more prepared, using a hyper null all to start, or just using a null all in the steel option, way better better start than this. But he basically alternates between water, fire, lightning, physical attack. And realistically, the most dangerous one is the Null Tide, or the Aqua Breath attack, because that has a chance of wiping the party, but every other ability is basically just a single target. But for the most part, we'll go through all of the different creations, what they're good to steal from, what they're good to attack, with, and things like that later on in the video. Or in the series, rather, not the specific video. But we've kind of crested into the end game now. Realistically, we're getting the sigils for a lot of the characters. And from this point on, now that we've unlocked the monster arena, we're going to be backtracking this episode. And getting a couple more celestial weapons and a couple of more, of the end game collectibles out of the way, which is really good, obviously. So we're kind of finally getting to the stage where, we can start the preparation for those late game challenges. And, to be frank, I'm really, looking forward to them, because even though I've played, hundreds of hours of this game, I've maybe only beaten a couple of the post-game, challenge bosses. So this is kind of going to be a first for me, so really looking forward to that. And in terms of tips for this boss, definitely want to magic break, because he primarily uses magical attacks. Definitely want to apply Shell, or the No spells, but obviously Shell will just be a more constant defense. But even with the magic break then, you know, even Auron, who doesn't have the highest magical defenses, is still able to like survive a water there, or a blizzard there. But like Riku and Yuna, like they both have such high magic and magic damaging spells at this point that like they are well able to just deal the max damage right now of quad 9, which is great. But yeah, like at the moment this kind of shows that like even though we are quite over leveled, we've tons of skills, this still is not like a walk in the park, you know. It's still slightly difficult to get through this boss fight. One of 3 good things about the arena though is that like you don't get a game over if you wipe. You just get dropped out to the trainer, and he just says, "Oh, you can try again, but it'll cost you money to fight the creature again." But like when in doubt, the Aeons are always helpful as well. For helping in fights and stuff. But I was trying to see just, you know, how can we get along without it. But, you know, realistically, it can help to get an Aeon out here. And Bahamut is automatically able to break the damage limit, so his overdrive can get into the 10,000s and beyond. And as you've seen from previous parts, we've equipped him with like really beneficial spells like haste. Doesn't have a healing spell. Like if he did, that would definitely be really useful, but now that he's hasted, he's able to attack once and then defend, which will obviously let him survive the next oncoming hit. If he had Shell and Cure, he could probably, like that, Cure, defend, and then, you know, attack, and on it could go until he ran out of MP. But yeah, the combination of like attack and shield, we're getting like thousands of damage off on the boss, which is great. I mean, in hindsight, you could also teach him the null spells, like the null white magic spells, and he wouldn't even be taking damage then, which would be funny. But yeah, it just goes to show, I suppose, the jump in difficulty, because like we're about to use a Mega Flare here, break the damage limit to tens of thousands of damage in one strike, and spoilers, it's not going to kill him. The Fiend is still going to survive, and it's going to get a counter attack then, and yeah, not the best of times. But as I say, with our party members being so diversified, like Riku can do a big heal, like we're fairly sorted, you know. And again, I was kind of like, oh, do I just try and steal some more? And then luckily we're getting towards the end of the fight now. But again, like Power Break and Magic Break doing such work, you know? No overkill, unfortunately, but I mean, still, 8,000 experience is nothing to sniff at. And then we get return spheres. So what a lot of these creatures drop are actually like the special types of spheres to be used on the sphere grid. So like return spheres, MP spheres, HP spheres, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, again, just moving Auron around Tidus' part of the grid, giving him more speed and strength. Again, poor Yuna is just like stuck in the middle. She was like trying just to get back to, you know, start Riku's grid, but she's then had to kind of backtrack, and now she's kind of stuck there with nowhere really to go. And again, Riku is literally going backwards through Lulu's grid because she kind of managed to get to the end of her grid, learn all the black magics, and then obviously with a white magic sphere learned Holy as well. And we're actually going to use the return sphere that we just got to place her at the end of Yuna's grid. If I ever make up my mind. But yeah, like basically Yuna has so many like +4 stat nodes towards the end of her grid that it just it just makes sense to put her there and have her just getting max stat progressions constantly. And again, poor Kimarhi, he kind of missed out on the great Bavel level grind, so he's just kind of a bit mediocre at the minute. But Roxas again, moving on around, getting tons of MP, and is about to get like all the early stage white magics as well. So all very, very useful. Yeah, if I was doing it again, I probably should have just done the return sphere to Yuna, move her back to like the steel node, and then she could have just started out on Riku's one again. But hindsight's 2020, I suppose. And again, Waka just getting some HP and MP, moving along around the grid. Now, here is where things get exciting. Because we are going to now unlock one of the key items that basically starts the end game for our best weapons, best gear situation. Basically, without this item, you cannot get any of the ultimate weapons in this game called Celestial Weapons at all. It's just not going to happen until you do this tiny side quest, which involves a trip to Macalania Woods. What's important here as well, I don't seem to be able to find the footage, but along this area here, just there to the left, as I'm running by there should be a eject sphere. You can collect it there before moving on. But basically for the side quest, you have to talk to that family, speak to the husband in here, and then say they're waiting for you, so he travels back. You need to speak to them first, or you won't have the dialogue option to tell him they're waiting for him and to meet him around the other way. But then once you do this, you then go back, and then they say, I've reunited, and the wife says, my husband's here, thank you so much, but now my son has gone off and we can't find him. And so to find the sun, you run up the crystal path. That's the shortcut through Macalania Woods. And in front of this crystal, in the tree, you find the kid. And when you talk to him, and you have the cloudy mirror, you then, which we won from the Chocobo race, you guys will remember. So it now becomes the Celestial Mirror, which you will need to unlock the chests or the areas that contain the celestial weapons. If you try and open them, it would literally say, you know, the chest will not open, a strange force keeps the chest closed, or what have you. There'll basically be a dialogue box to say, yeah, you can't open this. Sorry for you. And one of these particular chests, we could have like unlocked, as in been able to see it earlier, but it's in the Thunder Plains. And yeah, so after unlocking the Celestial Mirror, we're just going to do a quick save, and then going to the Thunder Plains, we're actually going to get Kimarhi's Celestial Weapon. So run down. I'll definitely turn down the music there for this point, but I had some just relaxing music on there because I was trying to get Lulu's sigil, which happens when you dodge 100 lightning strikes in a row. And I basically had made it to, I think, about 50. So you get 20, and then you get different rewards as you go up along the number of consecutive ones. So that first try was only 20. I had to try this many different times. It was very, very frustrating. But there, spoiler alert, we do consecutively dodge 37 in a row. So that was my first kind of attempt, and yeah, was pretty frustrating, but I mean, what can you do? It's a hard minigame, but if you go down towards this broken tower, and you'll kind of see the Cactuar ghosts float over to it, you have to have activated 3 lightning, or 3 of the Cactuar stones, and then press square to at that pillar to activate this chest. This chest won't open until you arrive there with the Celestial Mirror, and then it'll prompt you to use the Celestial Mirror to open the chest. Roxas will use the Celestial Mirror, it'll open, and Kimarhi will basically be presented with his celestial weapon. The Spirit Lance. And there we've unlocked Kimarhi's Celestial Weapon. And now escaping out of the Thunder Plains after doing some monster capturing there, because I mean we're backtracking through all these places. Why not get some monster capturing done? Now you might be wondering, why are you doing this minigame again? You already beat the record. But basically, you have to win the race. And once you win the race, this guy in brown will be over here. Specifically speaking, he will be in the way of our celestial weapon if you don't get him out of the way by winning the Chocobo race. And once you do, you can run down this area because you'll be out of the way, and you talk to this little area. It'll say the Celestial Mirror is reacting, and we actually get Tidus' ultimate weapon. So 2 ultimate weapons in one episode, because legitimately everything I'm doing in between is just capturing monsters at this point. Like, you know, if you know where and how to get them, you can literally blitz through a lot of content very, very quickly. So we've Kimarhi's ultimate weapon, Tidus' ultimate weapon, and like we've been collecting the sigils and the what's the word? Crests. The sigils and the crests as we've been going along throughout our playthrough. And at the moment, we've kind of been told to stay away from the temples because of Father Zook's warning, but we're going to now progress forward to and yes, sorry. So before we go ahead, this is just showing you that there's many different areas that we can capture stuff in. So I've captured 10 skulls, 9 of the wasps, 10 of the chimeras, things like that. But basically, for us to completely complete the monster arena, we have to collect 10 of every single enemy in the game. And I will be doing that off screen. Like, the majority of the time you just have high encounters on, 4 times speed, and you can just get through them very, very quickly. That chest that appeared once we collected all of the monsters in the Calmlands, that chest opens with the Celestial Mirror and contains Yuna's ultimate weapon. Yeah, I don't know why I leave it there. So yeah, I just was so nervous. I was like, why do I run away from it? So in one episode, we have gotten Nirvana, Yuna's ultimate weapon, Spirit Lance for Kimarhi, Calenbolg for Tidus. And then, you know, you might as well run with encounters on, because again, you're trying to capture enemies. There's no point in, you know, missing out on battles when you could be potentially getting a rare spawn. And what a camera zoom. I don't think I've ever seen the game like do that sort of camera movement before. Pretty wild. But now we've left the Calmlands, progressing towards Mount Gagazet, progressing the story. I know, it's like such a novel thing. We've kind of just been meandering around doing collectibles. But
from Lord Seymour.
right now,
Come with us.
we're going to progress the
We have nothing
story.
to discuss with Maester Seymour.
Yeah, so out of our way.
Lord Seymour's commands must be obeyed. You will come.
I warn you, the Maester doesn't need you alive.
And watch us just completely annihilate this boss. So, as per usual, start with Tidus, face of the party. And I was slightly confused. It's not that move, it's not threaten, it is provoke. Provoke is the ability we want to use. But again, we have 3 casters with Flare and Holy. We're going to be doing quad 9s all the time. But again, let's just make sure everybody gets a turn. Lunar curtains times 4, a very, very nice steal. Yuna barely hanging on there with 45 hit points. But one Kiraga healing 6,000 to a max of 2. You know, she's fine. Now, Blast Punch is actually the move we don't mind happening, because that will only do half health. Half of the remaining health, I should say. So it'll only do 50% of health damage. And then, yeah, just too much magic power. We're wiping through this guy's HP. So yeah, a bit of a mean one there, getting a blast punch and then a strike directly afterwards to knock out poor Yuna. And here is Mighty Guard, an incredibly powerful ability, puts null all element, like no fire, no frost, no blaze, no shock. But Lulu has a workaround. Flare is non-elemental damage, but he does have Shell, so it goes from quad 9 to 5,000, literally halving our magic damage. But Riku, having been through the end of Yuna's grid, has Dispel. Gets rid of all the positive spell effects on the character, which means Yuna's free to tell her now ex-husband, no, you're not going with you, sir. And yeah, those Guados chicken out and run away. And while the red arrow says go towards Gagazet,
This isn't the way in?
That way leads down into the valley.
Wow, you know your way around, yeah? Huh?
next episode we are going to be going into the valley, going into the cave specifically for a secret Aeon. All of the main temples have been visited. But as is the title of this episode, we are collecting everything. And around the corner, this corner in particular, is a rusty sword that we will need to collect for Aurons' celestial weapon. So some weapons need the celestial mirror and something else. So like Yuna's celestial weapon was, you know, capture all the creatures in the Calmlands, and then you'll unlock the chest that you can unlock the celestial mirror. Kimarhi's was speak to all the Cactar statues in the Thunder Plains and go to that specific tower, and then use the celestial mirror to open it. For Aurons' celestial weapon, it's collect the rusty sword, go to a certain spot on the Jose High Road, use the rusty sword, then unlock with the celestial mirror. So yeah, lots of steps. Nobody's is simple in all of its different forms. So, as I say, I just figured we'll collect things as they come up in the story, hopefully. But yeah, next episode we're just going to run back to the start of the cave, save, and that's where we'll pick it up next time. Keeping in mind we're capturing everything as we go. We need 10 of each. So thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you next time.